morning, good afternoon, good evening, for you folks. This is your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bottom Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, we're into another week of June. Yeesh. Yeah, it was a busy weekend. Had some shows that popped up. Congratulations to the winners of the competition, and also good luck to some upcoming shows we have this weekend. So, folks, as you know, I am always interested in somebody's story who get into bodybuilding, and this lady here, she just interviewed my man David Bryant. You know, David runs his female bodybuilding forum. You know, cool guy. He's been on my podcast. We're talking back and forth. One of these days, I might get to meet the brother. And he interviewed her. You know, this lovely lady. She made her debut this year in figure. She did a couple of shows, and also she's a nurse, a mother, and wife. And we want to share her story of what got her started in bodybuilding. So let's welcome the lovely Mrs. Jessica Picard. Picard.
Picard, yeah.
Yeah, I know a
Yeah.
Picard. I don't know. Maybe you might be, one of his ancestors. His name is John Luke. I mean,
John Luke, yeah. Yeah, I get that one a lot. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love Star Trek. I mean, I love Next Generation. I love the originals, Deep Space Nine. The last two, but it's just I know it's your married name, so he can't help it. So it's his
Yeah.
fault. So welcome, Jessica, and thank you for your time.
Yes, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
But not a problem, ma'am. So as I often ask you, ladies, what got you started in this sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity? Please share.
So I have been lifting weights since I was the age of 14. My mom got me into weightlifting kind of early on. Not really intentionally. She started going to the gym, working out when her and my dad started going through a divorce. So for her, it was like a big stress relief. And just sometimes mentally, what weightlifting does is one, it distracts you, and it does a lot mentally to build you up and build confidence and get you back to being who you need to be strong. So I started lifting at 14. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a lot of Muscle and Fitness magazine, Shape magazine. Um, Time spent that I would just read and go through everything. So like fast forward through the rest of my life, I had kids, I had husbands. And so I've always between, having being pregnant, after I had my kids, I went back to working out. I've always had weights in my house or cardio equipment. I've always had some kind of equipment there. Um, and so fast forward to now, it's about like 25 years later, and I set a goal for myself 2 years ago to get my life back together. Not so much my life, but like my body back together. After COVID, being a nurse, I was stressed. Work was crazy. Kid life was crazy. I packed on like 30 pounds that I just all of a sudden it was there. And I wasn't happy with it. So I got myself back into shape. And once that started, um, I said, I'm going to compete. This is something I wanted to do for so long, and I love females with muscles. Like I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to look like that. I just didn't really have the know-how. And the know-how was really not the lifting weight part, it was the nutrition part. And how to eat in surplus and how to really like eat clean to get your body to perform, to get your body to build the muscle that you need. So that's the past 2 years have been a lot of that. So I cleaned up my diet. I lost the weight I needed to lose. I got back to like 130 pounds, which was like a good, healthy BMI for me. And then I reached out to a coach, my first coach last June. And we started, I said, here's my goal. I want to compete. How do we do it? And I started following his nutrition and workout plans, and I saw the muscle pack back on. Um, and some definition, but definition really doesn't come until you're like cutting. So it was like pack on as much as you can. And then December, I got a trainer just because he's local at my gym and he's an IFBB pro. And I was like, well, this is the guy that needs to help me get on stage. So I connected with him, and that's how we chose the show in April. And I got on stage my first time in April.
Oh, that's a lot of way to go. I mean, I can understand, packing on weight, especially during, Corona. As often I say to you nurses, because I've interviewed quite ladies who are nurses, especially during that time. Thank you for your service, because my mother, she had gotten the virus, and she was sick for a long time, take a long for her to pass. And it's tough being a mother, being a wife, and balancing a career and being a bodybuilder. And it's good that I can tell you the truth. I've been fighting bodybuilding for a long time. I remember the muscle mags; they were great. But for me, when I was younger, I really got into a little more to about child ladies. Yeah, I like women with muscle too, but but a different mindset. So now we fast forward. Now you're bodybuilding. What made you decide figure?
Um, so it's funny because I always followed Dana Bailey and Dana's physique, she's not figure. I like that it is overall. It's not really like, I don't bikini to me is too tiny. I'm not bikini. I want to be bigger than bikini. Figure is nice and big, but I didn't want to do a dance routine. So I was like, figure has what I want. You have good symmetry, you're balanced overall. Wellness, you have to have heavy legs. That's where the direction is. And I said, I want to be overall in good shape and I want to be balanced. So that's why I ended up choosing figure.
Yeah, I know. Dalen Bailey, many ladies I've talked to, Dalen Bailey's always been that person that they, set their idea behind. First Miss Olympia physique, very popular, competitor. Not too much a big fan of hers. But I have a fan of a certain lady. Her name is Andrea Shaw. I know. If you guys you follow me, that's my girlfriend, and I think she has a great look to it. The visions, if you look at it now, are changing. When physique first started, they weren't as big as female bodybuilders, but they're getting to that point, they are getting bigger.
Yeah.
Y'all figure girls, y'all almost not too far behind them. And then you look at wellness, and bikini, those girls involved. And there's the new division, excuse me, fit model. I am not a fan of it. I feel like I understand, no. I'm not saying understand. I need to stop saying, I get their point why they created it, but still, I feel like it's not really bodybuilding.
Fit model is very hard. Very hard. So I have a friend that just competed in fit model, and I said to her, like, I don't know how to help you. And she has a coach, and I said, I don't know how to direct because you can't be too muscular, but you can't be too soft, and you got to do the posing that kind of looks like wellness, and you have to be sexy. And it's fit model to me, to comprehend and try to help somebody with that. And I'm not a competitive coach. I do transformative coaching. I don't do like competitors. I'll tell you where to go. I'm not doing it. It's hard. And to me, that is the most difficult thing to try to get people on fit model. And I understand the reasoning. Um, I just don't know how, and the criteria and everything. It's just very hard to figure out what they really want is what I'm seeing when I'm watching who's winning and who's not winning. I'm like, I can't tell. Like they kind of all look pretty similar. So
Yeah.
so then it comes down to posing. It's fit models just hard.
It's a throwback to when bikini first started, but like I said again, that division has evolved. Also, it's to me, I think it's mostly just a bunch of beachgoers and cardio bunnies. We got here my man Exe Gucci. Not sorry, I'm sorry, wrong brother. My man KL the Wander. He says, morning to your brother," and also he says this. He says, "How far do you want to gain muscle, and what division you are competing in?" Well, she just mentioned she's doing figure. But she says she doesn't want to go too far. But the thing is about bodybuilding, it's very influential and very, habit forming, especially you lifting weights and building muscle.
Right. Right. So then, like, if I get too big in certain areas, I might pop into it depends on how my body grows. So right now I'm in a bulk, and I don't really know what's going to happen. I've never been in like a true bulk, I'll be honest with you. So now I'm like, well, what's going to grow? Um, I know what we're doing in the plans. I know what we're trying to get to grow, but what is actually going to show up on my body? So then you could pop into wellness if my legs start to look a little bit too large for figure, or if my upper body and everything else gets a little bit bigger, I could pop into physique. And that's where I'm open with eventually over time, because it takes so much time to build muscle, over time popping into another division. Ideally, I'd like to stay in figure, but like we'll see what happens.
Well, as an amateur, you have the option to do one of both because it's like cross, like it's cross, crossing, divisions. It's some people don't like it because that's what I feel like it changes the other divisions when you can cross more. Like I interviewed a lady who earned a pro card at nationals, and she did both figure and wellness, and she earned a pro card as a figure competitor. I know ladies who earn like multiple pro cards, both in physique and women's bodybuilding. One lady she earned three
Right.
pro cards, and when was in two divisions, two in figure and one in physique. But it's about the process as your body develops. And like I said, you're still as you're still new to the sport. You're still
Right.
you're wet and fresh, wet behind the ears, and still your breath smell
Yeah.
like Similac. But it's a process that if you understand it, not so much trust it, understand what's involved in it.
Yeah, you could be successful. And you
Yeah.
have to realize that it's not a race. You're in a marathon right now. And at my first competition, I was like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to go pro and I was like, afterwards, I was like, bring it down, bring it down a couple notches, slow down, slow your roll, and listen to your coach and like really get like a solid plan and be open and realize this business to get pro like usually takes like a good 10 years. Like,
Well, yeah, sometimes it takes some ladies
yeah,
a long time. I know some ladies who spend 20 years before they get their pro card. But sometimes
yeah.
every now and then you get some phenoms. I remember one lady, Hunter Henson, her first year, made her amateur debut. Boom, got a pro card. Boom, made her pro debut. Boom, and got second in her first show. But like I said, you have a plan. But my other guys, I don't have a plan. I'm just a dog chasing cars. I want to know what to do when I get one. And that's a good thing you have a plan. Like again, who's your coach now, and how long y'all been together?
So I switched to Bombshell Fitness in February. So I have Coach Jen Capozzi. She's a IFBB Pro Bikini. Um, but like collectively, they when we go to team shows and stuff, they all kind of coach you. So Jenny Clapp is a bikini IFBB pro. Jessica Delias, she is with Shannon Day, and they kind of run Bombshell. And so I have really good coaching and really good experience behind me to help guide me. So that's where I feel like I'm going to get where I need to be or where I want to be because I have this team of amazing women behind me coaching me. So
Mm.
I'm not worried about my coaching as much anymore as I was.
That's good. That's good you have that team because I think one thing I talk to ladies, they tell me that sometimes they feel more comfortable with a woman that's a coach because they understand everything that's involved in it, the biology, the growing of muscle. Men and women, we're always going to be biologically different. How like us guys, we can build muscle quick and lose fat quick compared to women because as you're a mother, you have kids, y'all hold more of it in your breast and your hips and all the other areas where it's needed.
Right.
But that's a good thing that you have this good relationship, especially your first time competing. What is that feeling like? Because you did the was it the Steve Stone
It's
show?
Stone, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so Steve Stone was my first, and I feel like um, I was super nervous. I didn't know what to expect, and I feel like for every first-time competitor going out there, you're not gonna know, you're gonna be nervous. Everyone's gonna be screaming backstage, "Hurry up, pump, get your glaze, go." Just go with it. So, like, the second time around when I knew that was coming, I was like, "All right, like, here's my pump snack. I'm getting pumped, get my glaze, get on stage." And I felt more comfortable on stage. And just getting on stage is like a huge my whole fear was I'm gonna fall in these heels, even though even though I've been practicing. I was like, "I'm gonna fall." Um, and then I wanted to find my husband in the audience, and I was like, don't look for him. Look at the judges. Don't look for him. Look at the judges." So that was the other piece. And then you worry, about posing. But if you have it down where muscle memory just takes over and you don't have to think about your posing so much and you just know that you're rock solid. And I mean, my first show, I was not. I mean, I'm still not rock solid, but I thought I was because I practiced it that much. So I went out there and did what I thought I needed to do and stood on the side, got off stage, looked at the pictures afterwards, looked at the video after. I was like, yeah, my posing was bad. And I didn't pull my lats out. And I didn't really know how at the time. I thought I did. I thought that I had it together. Um, but then when I got with Jen Capozzi and worked with her on some posing, because I didn't plan on Orlando and I didn't plan on doing another competition till like August. And she was like, I think you're still pretty lean. It was about 4 weeks out from the show. She's like, you're still pretty lean. Like, why don't you just get on a plane, go to Orlando and try to compete in 2 weeks? And I was like, I got to see where my kids are. Like, I don't know. So we did like a quick calorie adjustment over the next 2 weeks. The next week was we dropped my calories. Upped my cardio. I kept the same workout plan. The following week is peak week where, the carb cycle manipulation comes into play. And I got on stage. I did everything I needed to do. My posing was much better. And then I got first place there. I didn't take the overall, um, which is fine. I told my husband when we went down there, I was like, this is for fun. This is not for anything. This is for fun. We'll see what happens. And I did pretty well. So I was like, all right, now we get home, like, what's the next plan? And we have a plan, but it's still going to be, what's building where. That's
Yeah, it's like Scarface. It's like, I came for fun. I did it for fun. You gotta, like, so you gotta enjoy it, because I talk to you ladies. There's so much involved to it, and you have to enjoy what you're doing. The training, the dieting, the regiment. Walk around clear heels. Like, just because with my job, I used to work in a strip club, and that's those girls they needed that because that's how they made their money. The clear
yeah.
heels. I know your husband there. What's your husband's name?
Michael.
Mike said, "Yo, Michael, yeah, that's my baby there. Yeah, it's my woman, yeah." And then guys look and say, "Hey, you got a hot wife, Mike." Yeah, I say, hey, get about my wife. Get your wife out of my mouth. But yeah, it's good that he's there to support you. Your kids
Yeah.
support you. That's the important part about bodybuilding, because it's tough, especially for a woman, because the aspects of bodybuilding, most people think of it as like, you just take steroids and just get big and muscular. It's like Arnold. But no, there's more to it. The consistency, the diet, the discipline. You
Yeah.
know, Motivation changes from day to day. It's like you get one morning and and the kids are doing something. Hey, mommy, we cooked for you. Say, nah, babies, I gotta go hit the gym. And that's the focus of it. Folks, we're gonna do. Well, I got Jessica here. We're gonna jump into social media for a little bit. If you want to follow her, links description. Also, she runs a business. If you're interested, she's posting. Anybody, if you want to take part in her plan, we'll show that to you there. Also on IG. But also, you can check her interview with my man David. It's in the top of the chat section of this live stream. But guys, be respectful. Don't be weird. I know you guys out there, you love these buff women, but stop it. Don't do it. You're sick freaks. I mean, I tell you, I'm hearing so many stories, and from women, and they tell me this. I just, hey guys, come on, have respect for yourself. So we're here, got her and her IG, so you want to follow, and also want to reach out and help her out, because I think promotion is good for you. Because right now you have this plan here. I'm looking for 5 women who want to lose fat and build their glutes without restrictive diets or endless cardio. So you're training yourself too, and you also have your own business as a nurse.
Yes, yep. Yeah, I have like a wellness clinic, the Botox filler, all of that locally. And then I do see people, they come in and I do make them nutrition plans. I do make them workout plans. So I have people that come into the office and we discuss this, or I can do it online completely. It's up to the person. I mean, really, it's up to like location based.
Yeah, I know a lot of trainers are going online now. I think mostly when the
Yes.
pandemic hit, because that's was the thing that forced people to go online and do video conference videos for trainers,
Yep.
And here's a little video. I think if we could play it.
Incentive is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not going to feel perfect every day. There's got to be those days you push through, and they're probably going to be more numerous than the days you don't. And so the benefit of discipline, in my eyes, is 90% of it.
That's pretty good. This is very important part about training, And here she is.
A coach. I'm not just saying this from a perspective of being a coach. I'm saying this from a perspective of having been coached by a number of people in like the fitness field and even like the mental health field that have helped me significantly through my life to help me get where I am now. One of them being Joe Hernandez. He is at a Pro Gear gym in Florida. I've known Joe for about 25 years. And when I was going through a really rough time in my life, I reached out to Joe. I said, please help me because I can't break right now. He sent me a workout. He sent me a meal plan, and we worked together for a while, and it just strengthened my mind, my body, my spirit, so that I could get through the really tough time I was going through. And I can't ever thank him enough. Kind of at the same time, I was introduced to CrossFit, and I met someone locally named Dustin Pritzer. He owns VIP CrossFit in Jeffersonville, New York. And he taught me things that you could do with your body that I never could have imagined, and really brought some strong out of me. He knew ultimately, like, my goal was to get into bodybuilding and competing. But, a lot of what I do now with just heavy compound lifts, I learned from Dustin, which was amazing. So he has also helped me. And then he also coached my son to help him with some like heavy compound lifts and get him on the right track. After that, I worked with someone named Logan Frazier. I found Logan. He was from my area and he moved out to California. He hasn't really been home in a while. And I watched him on Facebook for a really long time, transform his body and transform his clients. And knowing that I wanted to get competitive within the past 2 years, I reached out to him and was like, what can we do? I need help because I don't know how to get to the next step. I was already doing a workout plan. I was already meal prepping and on the right track. I just needed a little extra and accountability and some more guidance from someone who clearly transformed their own body and had clients also to show what they could do. Logan is amazing. He up till recently, I did stop working with Logan just because I transferred to another coach. Not out of anything that I didn't want to work with him anymore. It was super emotional to break up with him in coaching, and he knows that. But he has helped me significantly, and I could never thank him enough either. In the past year, I met IFBB Pro Dan Crespo, and he has worked with me one-on-one for training as well as coaching. And I've been working with him, and that's what got me to my first competition. So just the guidance, the motivation, the daily, you can do it, keep going, ass kicking that I was getting just really helped too. And I remember like texting him, like, thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. I so appreciate it. I don't know if I could have gotten to the stage without you, because it's a scary move. Dan introduced me.
Yeah, you did a lot, to get to where you get to now. I mean, the people you met, your relationship with Eric. I know ladies who tell me that when they have a good coach, it's like having another husband or boyfriend sometimes, and it's hard to break up that relationship when you start to get it going.
Yeah, it was, and it's very hard to explain, but it's just, this journey is very emotional. I'll just breathe.
Take a deep breath.
It's super emotional. Just talking about like the road, and some of the places that I've been, in my career, in my with my kids, with personally, with a divorce, and that's why I talk about Joe a lot, because I knew I had to stay strong for my kids at that point. I was in school finishing my RN at the same time. I was working full time. Um, I was doing so many things, but I couldn't break down. And that's where I said, like, I need a meal plan. I need to focus. I need to work out so that I can just stay strong. And I think that was kind of like the example I got from my mom, was when like stressful stuff comes, you can manage more, and you have to stay strong.
Yeah. And I think this should be her, right? I think your mom's right here in one of the pictures, because I was looking at it. I saw,
She's deep in there. She was in April.
yeah,
That's Steve's. So, and she's a little tiny lady. She's tiny.
yeah, I
And
know, yeah, that's because
yeah,
that's important that you have your friends, your family, stand by you, especially your mother. Because I can tell you again, my mother was my woman, and I stood by her when she was getting sick, and dealing with her stuff. And it's good that you have that, especially Mike and the kids. And here she is
yeah.
at the New York Pro. She's one of the presenters, and you got a nice dress. You got some long legs too.
They look long. They're really short.
Yeah, yeah,
They look
yeah.
long in the dress. Yeah.
I remember was watching your your interview with David, how your experience was like being backstage and meeting these
Oh yeah.
competitors. I mean, it's like, I remember when I went to my first bodybuilding show that was in Savannah 2 years ago. No, actually 3 years ago. So it'll be 3 years coming up in the end of June, and getting to meet some of the ladies who I follow, ladies I've did interviews with, even meeting some legends. Like I met Lena Popa, who competed the Olympia back in the day, who runs her own business. Meeting Annie Revicchio, who I used to follow on in the muscle mags. I mean, it's a experience. It can be just something, especially for someone who's a newbie like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, New York Pro was star-studded. Like, so, and when I got out there, and you probably watched where David asked me, like, who did I walked out there and I was like, again, I'm walking on stage in these high heels and I see Jay Cutler, and I met Jay Cutler at Bev's. And for like 2 seconds, I got a picture, whatever. And I was still like, there he is. I was scared to walk out there. And there were so many other people. Urs was there. I got a picture with Urs, who just was second runner up from CBUM. And I mean, there's just so many people there that are just amazing in bodybuilding. And it was so like, oh my God, I'm walking out on stage in front of them. And then even the girls I was presenting to that I didn't really know, like they were from other countries and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm meeting royalty. I'm putting a medal on royalty right now. And I got to meet Bridget Andrich, which was wild. And she's like gorgeous and big and muscular. And I watched her routine and everything. And just to meet all of those people was just like a really wild experience at the pro.
That's really good. That's great. I mean, that's a great experience. You're back there, you're rubbing shoulders with legends and up and comers, and it can be something exciting. We have a man, CS Combat Sports, my brother, Coach Sherton Harrison. He's the man who got me into this. Shout out to him. Says, salute GP, salute to you, my man, because he does content on MMA and mixed martial arts. Great fan. We did a live stream where he commentary the fight at UFC 316. Shout out my brother. Check him out. And yeah, it's a lot, because to be in this, you have to be committed and you have to understand what's involved in it. And it's good you have people like, your coach and your family stand by you. And your nursing, when did that start? And, how long have you been a nurse?
Oh, 15 years. Yeah, 15 years as a nurse. I started out when my son was one. I went back to school for my LPN then I was an LPN for a while. Then I went back to school for my RN, conveniently while I was in the middle of a divorce. And then went back to school actually in 2020 while like it was wild. And I finished my bachelor's, and I'm in the works with, I'm like halfway through my master's. So there's like a lot of stuff. I tend to overfill my plate. It's just normal for me because I like to function at a higher level. So like when I know what I'm capable of and I know that I have more in me, I'm going to give it, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to do. And the someone originally, when I went back to school for my RN, they had said to me, because I wanted to hurry up and finish it and do everything. And they're like, the goal hasn't changed. The date's changed. And like at the time I was young and I was like, but I want this tomorrow. Right. And I was like, right now, like even with bodybuilding, the goal for me to become an IFBB pro, like, and I don't know what that's going to do for me. I don't know. It's just, I'm going to be IFBB pro. So I put in the universe, I was like, one day I want to be this. And the goal is still going to be there. What the date is, I have no idea. So why am I rushing it? Like, this is like, I'm just going to build muscle and cut and see what happens and see how I perform. So like the date just might change a little.
Yeah, I think with a lot of young people, they want everything quick, fast, in a hurry. But it doesn't work like that. I'm gonna say underfill your plate, overfill your plate. I do that too much too. That's why I'm like this now. But yeah, it's about what time it takes for you to get there. And I wouldn't say do what everybody else do. Do what works for you.
Right.
Like I said again, with being a bodybuilder, especially if IB Pro, not a lot of benefits. If you're lucky enough, sponsorship, or going to the Olympia, like, are you a sponsored athlete or everything's on your shoulders?
Nope, everything's on me.
Yeah. And that's the thing that could help because you know what? I talk about this quite a lot for you ladies. Compared to the men, and I say this, I'm gonna keep saying this, all they gotta do is wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts. You
Yeah.
ladies have to, be presentable. You have to present both femininity and muscularity. It's a very tight rope. With some divisions, it's a little harder because, especially women's bodybuilding and physique, with y'all figure ladies, y'all can walk that rope a little better. And even you seeing like divisions like wellness and bikini, they're not too far from it. But the thing is, once you know what you put into it, how much time you put into it, how much you invest into it, it's worth the reward. I've seen ladies that say after spending years competing amateurs and finally get that pro card, they break down and cry. I've seen some ladies who turn pro and never made use of it, other than maybe for business. We should
Right.
talk about, if you're pro now, you have to make sure you stay registered, to pay a fee because that's another
Yeah.
expense.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know there's like competing rules, like you have to compete with 2 years or every 2 years, every 3 years when you become pro. And like in my eyes, I'm like, who wouldn't want to get on the New York Pro stage?
Well, here with
Even if
that
you might
one,
not do great.
here with that how baseball is played, it's not competing every 3 years. You have a limit so you to you like be registered. You still can be a pro, but if you don't register, you can't compete. It's
Got it.
kind of how they explain it's really weird because we talked about this. We do a podcast every Monday. We talked about this. There was a lot of people kind of like, "Hey, I'm a pro. I should have that." But the thing is, it's about them trying to. The IBB and NBC is a business in
Yep.
overall of it, and it's about trying to maybe either make competitors pay their fees or to make competitors say, you can compete, you can be a pro, but if you're not competing, you shouldn't be call yourself a pro. Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah.
political stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
of political stuff. But
Right.
often I quote from my favorite movie Batman Begins. He says like this: "My master Ra's al Ghul taught me, beware surrounds all time, young master. Never go sure footing for a killing blow." So, so now, what's the plan? As you say, you want to take the time, and this is your cut and bulking season.
So the plan is to right now go through a bulking stage and see if I can build out where I need to build out, which is my hamstrings, glutes, my back more, um, and reevaluate in August if we're going to try to do stage in October or November.
So you
Because I mean,
want,
now the goal is I'd like to take an overall figure, and even though I qualified to go to nationals with my first and second place, like I want to make sure like I'm in a better position that could take overall. And then if I do want to go to nationals, I bring a better package. Um, and then, I've been checking out who's winning. Like they're all bringing it. They're they're bigger, they're thicker, you're thick, but you're cut, you're lean, and your posing's on point. So you got to bring it all. And it's not like I've looked at a lot of competitors from last year. I feel like women are bringing up the bar quite a bit in these like you said, physique is like almost getting towards bodybuilding stage. Like you have to just be a little bit bigger, and that takes more time and more work.
so you feel like you don't get overall this year. You feel like you want to take the rest of the year off and focus on, a show like you're in upstate New York, so you're not too
Yeah.
far like the universe. That's just coming this
Yeah.
weekend. So maybe next
Yeah.
year.
um I don't know if I would take the year off just because don't want to get like rusty on the stage and get the nerves back. Um, I mean, that I'll have to talk, to my coach about, like, to see where we land, because it's gonna really depend on what my body does and how I look. So I'm just staying open with it. Um, so yeah, that's all. We're just gonna stay open. Like universe next year, we'll see. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
watch Universe this year to watch the divisions. A couple girls I know that I connected with at Steve's are competing in Universe, and I was like, I want to come watch you. I'm going to come support you. I competed against the one girl, and I said, I'm going to come watch you at Universe because I'm not ready to go, but I'm glad you are, and I'll cheer for you.
All right. This is a question from my man KL, and he says this. He says, "Break down what's overall is that gets to the Olympia. I'm still learning."
No.
No, no. Well, let me explain to you, brother. Overall, if you're an amateur and you win overall, you have the different classes. You win your class, then you go for overall title. The overall title gets you an opportunity to compete in a national show, which qualifies you for a pro card. He's more a fan of women and muscle, not much about the sport. That's
Yeah.
how overall works. If she did a couple of regionals, but she didn't win the overall in those regionals. So, but she still qualified for nationals, but she rather, bring in a better condition, be the overall champ. So she feels like she has a better shot at getting a pro card. But like I said again, you can still get your pro card. All you do like show like a show like the nationals or shows like the North Americans, the
Yep.
Team Collegiate. All you got to do is you play second in your class, you can still get a pro card. But you feel like you want to go in there and you want to prove that you have the look that you can maybe. So sometimes maybe like I know somebody take the time off, want to make their pro debut. You feel like you want to make it sooner.
I don't know that to get the overall, I'd like to do that sooner. I'd like to do that October, November, if that's a possibility. But then to go back out after an overall, to go back to try for the pro card, I take a little more time, I think. And I mean, maybe Universe next year, but maybe somewhere else. Maybe there's to get your pro card. I feel like it's a lot less opportunities available versus the regionals. So I would could pick one anywhere and just kind of see how I do and go from there. But I want to bring the best package possible, and not that like second place is bad if I got it on a second place, but I know where I need to fill out, and it's gonna take a little time.
Yeah, it's again. I talk about how bodybuilders the wicked body mentality. If you're not first, you're last. You want to come in. But here's the thing: is you might have to go against girls who've been doing it for quite a lot longer than you. Some ladies who are who've been competing and understand the aspects of it. You're still you're still brand new. But
Yeah.
there's been times where I've seen new competitors who just made their debut as a bodybuilder and then turn around and they're already a pro. It's a process that takes time. We got here from my man KL. He says this. He says, "Got you. Don't take nothing away from me, Jessica." He says. He's also says, "Good luck." And also he says, "When do you get your pro card? What will you do? Would you do a debut show immediately or what?"
Probably take some time off because if that happened, and then I've seen the pros and the competitive level of the pros, and they're bigger. They're bigger. You really need a lot more time to grow. And it's funny because at the amateur level, I feel like you have to be big, but you also have to be small. And then when you get to the pro level, you just have to be big. And not that these girls are really like big. It's they're cut, they're present well. Like people think I'm huge, and I'm like, I'm not. You see definition, and you see some cuts, and you see when I flex a certain way that the muscle looks bigger. Um, and that's the way it is on stage too. Like the girls look like they're huge on these pictures, but you see them in person and you're 130 pounds. You're not huge, but when you flex a certain way, it makes you look bigger.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Particularly if you look at your figure division. If you look at right now who's standing on top of the division, like Jessica Reyes Padilla, Lola
yeah,
Montez, the former champ, Sydney Gillen. You
yeah,
were in New York, and there was this lady. Her name was Gabrielle. I think she was from Lithuania or something. And this chick, I remember I was watching that, and I'll pull the picture. This is a picture of her. I put together, and if you look at
yeah,
her, and Paula Ranta, Paula was figure,
yep,
and she switched to physique. And this woman, if you look at her, and then you compare it to someone like
yeah,
you
uh,
know most definitely in Tag Cuejo, she's not too far from it. And that's supposed to be the figure division.
Right, right. They're big. They're big.
I mean, yeah. I remember I talked to ladies who tell me like the judges have a particular look they want, and then they go by what they see that's at the time at the competitions. And I think they need to stick to the criteria that was set for the division, but it seems like he's changing year after year.
I feel like the criteria stays the same and what wins is different every competition. Um, so I went up against this woman and she was bigger. Just her back was bigger. Her back was cut up and um not as leaned out. And even like the girl that won this weekend, they were against each other. The one girl was much bigger, the other one presented a better like overall package, symmetry, everything was good. So I was like, that's why the judges picked her. The other girl, I was like, she was just bigger, but bigger, it doesn't always get it. You have to present based on the criteria. You have to be lean, you have to be conditioned, you have to have good abs. Like figure everything needs to be on point. I mean, not that the other divisions don't, but um I feel like everything you need to be on point and you need to study that criteria and watch the breakdowns that like Tyler does. Like I watch the breakdowns a lot of what he'll explain why certain people won and try to understand that and then try to get your body to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's Tyler Mannion, who
It's
is
hard.
the grand yeah Tyler Mannion, who's the grandson of Jim Mannion, son of J.M. Mannion. He's still young guy. He's doing pretty
Yeah,
good. I mean, I think he was at the Toronto show also judging. Not a big
I
fan of
was
his per se, but it's just what I learned from this sport is a lot of work and consistency that's involved in it. Like we're training. What's that exercise say? I love it. It makes me feel so good. And I can say, damn, why I gotta do that shit?
um I've always worked out my biceps, triceps. Like that's always just been a thing. So to me, that's not, I don't know. To me, that's, I'll say like easier, but not, it's not easier. You make it so you can't move your arms. The ones that I hate are step ups, Bulgarian split squats, curtsy
Mm.
squats, like all the ones that I know that I really need to hammer hard on. Um, I don't like them. I don't like them.
Well,
It's a lot. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, those things, as my other guy says, they make you stranger but make you stronger. And it's important to the process as you grow and develop, especially with your figure girls. You'll have to have that certain look to you, the broad shoulders, the cap, the very slim, tapered in waist that, as one lady described it, that upside down Dorito look, because it's
Yeah. Yeah.
important. Yeah, because if you, that's the thing is, that's why I say about the criteria. If you fit the criteria, you should be placed a lot better. But again, the judges go by a certain look. Sometimes they like the big, like it's like with the guys. They can be big and freaky all they want. Nick Walker can be big and freaky all he want, but y'all women, y'all can't be too big and freaky.
Right. Right. We still need to look feminine and look sexy in the heels and the suit and yeah.
Yeah, and again, we go back to the expense of being a woman in sport. Because not only you have to pay for your tanning, the travel to the shows, your sanction fees, your suits right there. That's your car note, your rent, or your mortgage. The was so much involved in it of
Yeah.
growing and developing. But you know, I really do wish more for y'all ladies. But we're not gonna hold much too longer because I know she's a busy woman. She got things she has to do. But what would the thing that you would want out of bodybuilding for yourself?
Um, so if I were to say, so out of bodybuilding as a goal, I want to get my pro card. What do I want to get out of it by doing all of that? I want to build my online business to the point that it's super successful that I can move to Florida and don't have to be in New York anymore. that's that's like the goal of it is, and I have a lot of education, and I have a lot of know-how, and I know how to coach people through things. I've been through a lot of things. I've transformed my body multiple times in my life. I do it now every day with people, but the online side of it is tricky. And like you said, like the men online coming at you, and it's like, keep that away from me, please. Um, and give me serious clients, and they see a picture and they're like, oh, like attack her. Like I I'm not about that. That is not, I run a business. I'm a professional. I don't need this crap. If you're a serious person and want some information, I'll give you information. We're making an appointment and we're doing it this way. So for me, like bodybuilding and only transforming my body and working this even more gives me more. And like I've signed up for trainings, I've signed up for more education. I've just in that aspect as well. Um, Doing all of this every day and walking the walk and talking the talk so that you can walk someone through the transformation and the amount of discipline it takes to get where you want to be, um, would just be, that would be where I'd want my life to go, to transform it into making this super successful and pushing it out that way.
Well, I hope you get your all success. I don't know. My niece, she was stationed in the army. She was up. She would live in Buffalo. She told me that when it snowed, it get past her. She's only like 5'4". It get past right near her, past her hips. I'm from the South. If it snows half an inch down here, everything shuts down. But you come down in Florida, yeah. I mean, there's opportunities for you. Especially, it's a great growing community for bodybuilding in Florida. And like I said, you got your babies. I know they're proud of you. Your husband's proud of you. I can understand. My parents were together for 55 years, even though my mom was still down here with us, and my dad was living upstate in New Jersey with his new family. But it's good that you found something for you, and it's good that you have the support of your friends and family. And you know what? And you got a business, and you know what? I wish you all the success. But other than that, ma'am, I want to say, you have anybody you want to shout out?
Just my husband, my kids, my mom. She knows, she'll watch this. Um, my son's always super supportive and cheering me on every day. My daughter knows now not to like feed me extra pizza crust. So they know, and they've been super important part of this whole journey. So if you know, if I didn't have the support, I'd be broken down a little bit more sometimes. Just because it can get rough. It can get really rough. So thank you to my family.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Good. Thank you to your babies and your man.
Yeah.
Your mama. They're staying in your corner. I think a lot of ladies told me that sometimes they don't have that, but it's good that you
Yeah.
got that, because
Yep.
this is a tough sport. It can drain you mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. But folks, we're not going to hold them too long. We'd like to thank for Jessica for taking time out and sitting here talking with us. If you want to follow her, the link's in the description. Reach out in genuine interest, you sick freaks. I know you're out there. I'm one of you. I'm almost a person. I get excited about your ladies. Oh, he has to say something. Oh God. He says, Jessica, I want to